Good morning. Today is October 22nd, 2025. It is 9:53 a.m. For the record, this is Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Adonai, Hashem. He who comes from heaven is here. So, got some fun things planned for my Christians today. You guys are definitely, you guys can be funny. So, if anybody's ever seen the movie, I forgot the movie again. What's the movie called?
Inside Out.
Inside Out. That's the movie. See, I've done asked my wife 3 different times today for this movie. So, it's funny because I was just kind of like mind floating, and I was thinking Christians, all these religious organizations, everybody is just scrambling to get to home base, right? What's home base? Home base is heaven, right? And so I'll play this fun little clip for you. Let's see.
Oh, Bouncy! Well, what are you waiting for? Say the words. Oh, Hi, everybody. I'm Pouchy. Wait out.
Pouchy, we need to get back to headquarters. Do you have anything that can help us?
I have lots of items. Which one do you think will work the best? A roll of tape? A rubber duck? No time!
Seriously, Pouchy? Dynamite? Don't you have a jetpack or a plane or something that's gonna help us?
What do you think? I have everything in here. I offered you the rubber ducky. I offered you the tape.
I know what to do, but we're gonna need a lot more dynamite.
You know what? Good luck.
You know what? Good luck, Christians. I've given you guys everything you need from Pouchy. And you guys are still, not able to get it, right? It's simple. Literally, first books of the Bible, right, instruct you on the dangers of idolatry, the dangers of sin. And it doesn't matter what page in the Bible you turn to. Take the Bible, randomly, just open it up. Leviticus 25:40. Let's see if we can find something that keeps the theme of why we're not supposed to doing things, right? Let's see what we have. So here we go. So Leviticus 23. The land, Israel, moreover, shall not be sold permanently. Not to Gaza, not to Palestine, not to the United States, not to Turkey, not to Qatar, not to Saudi Arabia, not to Iran, not to United Kingdom or Russia or China or Taiwan. Nobody. For the land is mine, Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah. That is my land. For you are all but aliens and but sojourners with me. So if you don't carry the spirit of me, the truth of me, my own name, you don't obey the scriptures in which I gave you, then that puts you in the inside out on the out, right? So that's why, as Elohim, I am here giving you Pouchy, right? I'm giving you all the tools, but just like they want a jetpack, too bad you get the rubber ducky. This really stems, and I'm not sure the context of the book, nor will I read it, but what Joyce Meyer, right, a very popular Christian evangelical, really big on Jesus. That's another thing. When I think of Christians and Jesus, I think of Christians taking out this like little packet of like drugs, right? They're pulling out their little baggie of drugs and they're like rolling it up, you know, and they're like, all right, team, time for Jesus. Oh, hallelujah. Like, you guys are pretty damn weird. You're pretty damn weird. But yeah, and I mean, just kind of running on Leviticus. I'm not really doing a reading today, but you know, the good thing about the Bible, the wonderful thing about the Bible, Christians, Jews, all of you, is you can open it anytime, any place, anywhere, and no matter what you're reading, you can find how it consistently and constantly applies to you, yourself, and how you are, those are your instructions, right, on how you get back to home base. Pouchy can't help you. Your pastors can't help you. Talking heads can't help you. The decisions of the world to ignore me, again, are not new. Not new. This might be also a news flash. I'm not a prophet, I am Elohim. But in the past, every time a prophet, right, would come into a land, and the prophet is telling the land, you guys forgot the Bible, you forgot God again, you guys are doing wicked, nasty things, he's getting mad, he sent me before you to tell you all that he's about to kill you all, so you might want to listen. And it doesn't matter if it's 5,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, humanity as an animal, you all react the same way. Well, that doesn't apply to me. That doesn't apply to this. You know, my talking heads on TV are more important. If I need anything, I'll ask Pouchy, right? Because if a fellow countryman of yours becomes so poor he has to sell part of his property, then his nearest kinsman is to come and buy back what his relative has sold. Or, in case a man has no kinsman, but so recovers his means as to find sufficient for its redemption, right? I mean, this is really going into property, but at the same time, these things apply. And what is the main principle right here in Leviticus, without going into it, right? It's actually talking about making sure that no one's left behind. And a part of this New Canaan plan in Gaza, a part of my plan, and why my plan is obviously more superior to Trump's plan or to Rubio or to even Netanyahu, is because they are using the senses and the sight of a short-term created being called human. And I, as Elohim, I run the numbers, and I'm like, our best case scenario is about 2.5 years worth of peace, but it's not really peace, right? There are murders. I have names of Israelis that are going to be murdered in the next 15 days. It wouldn't do you any good if I told you who you are, because there's no way you're going to be able to circumvent those things. They're already etched into the stone. You see what I mean? So the only way to actually navigate the world, the earth plane, is truly through me. And I'm steering the ship, trying to say, hey, there's an iceberg, you might want to steer the ship. Meanwhile, Trump's like, I don't give a shit, it's unsinkable. Okay, I just told you there's an iceberg and you're going to be cut open like a tin can. And they all laugh. Okay. They weren't laughing when they were in freezing water dying, were they? No, they weren't. They couldn't call Pouchy, right? They couldn't call Jesus to help them. And at the end of the day, as Elohim, I've made myself available to you in all three components. I have given you my Holy Spirit. I have given you myself. I have given you instructions directly from me. And I have cut out the fad. I have cut out the tradition. I have cut out the religious preferences. I have cut out the hokey, tribalistic, primitive mindscape of humanity to simply say, you guys are in terrible danger there is something coming over the mountain that none of you could even think of or even have ever prepared for. Nothing by human hands could avert what awaits you. As your Elohim, I'm extending my hand down into earth, literally as myself, saying, you need to hold on to me. Hold on to the hand, because when these things happen, a lot of you, if not all of you, are surely going to perish. Now, your race doesn't have to end this way, and it doesn't have to end here. But in order to do that, I need you to shift your mind gears out of your Sunday services, out of your Jewish services, out of your Israelite services. You need to get with the program of getting in my sphere. How do you get into a sphere? Humans, you guys are all, like I've said, you're like little mini creators. So when you're operating in a hive mind, you guys can accomplish a lot. So if you're working towards things that are for me, for my kingdom, and you're advancing that, that brings yourself closer to me in all ways. Right? So let's use another example. So let's say that we're talking about the 17-year-old who's saving up to buy a car, right? His mind is on that car. When he's at work, he's thinking about the car. When he's at home playing video games, he's still thinking about the car. And no matter what this 17-year-old's doing, that's the most important thing that he wants, right? And, well, most of the time, with 90% chances, he's driven so much to get that car, he's going to get that car. If I could get every man and woman on just a simple task, a purpose of saying, I need to get close with my God, I need to get close with my Elohim. That is what I want. I want to see heaven. I want to see the earth being rebirthed. I want to see things that out of the grand scheme of all life on earth, these things happen so far apart, close to 40,000 years apart, that, you know, obviously most humans, you guys are born, you die, you operate within a system. Right? You guys know this by computers. Let's use that, okay? Good one, Gabriel. Thank you. So computers. So let's say, like I'm running my old Windows 10. It's been running at Windows 10 for a long time. My computer's now having glitches. I'm going to make a note on this one because I'm going to bitch about that one later. So the computer's having glitches. The computer's having glitches. And you know, as a human, right, the inevitable is, I've got to get a new one. It's starting to go array, it's starting to have issues. Now, the functions I need this computer to do, it no longer serves its purpose. Well, if you know me, Elohim, then you know that things are driven by purpose. So that right there, in its very basic form of a parable with a computer, you would know that I'm gonna be forced to buy a new computer. And everything that's on this computer, unless I transfer it to the new one, it's gonna be lost. So if I'm going through my computer and I'm seeing corrupt file, my scanner isn't even picking it up. So I'm like about to make a transfer to the new computer, and I have, what is it, like 6.7 billion files known as human beings upon the creation or upon the system, and I have less than like a few dozen files that are prepared and zipped and ready for retrieval. So as Elohim, I'm like, wait a minute, there is a lot more files. And so then when I open up the database in the old computer, and I'm going, you gotta be kidding me, man. Every one of these files are corrupted. I click on it, what's the corruption? And I read the transcript, and I'm like, they're corrupted because of idolatry. They have skewed perspective. They're pursuing cars, they're pursuing money, they're pursuing books, they're pursuing TV time, they're pursuing Donald Trump, they're out protesting, they're visiting church, and they're doing Bible study to worship Jesus. They're they're wanting to go on vacation in Africa and call it a missionary time, when it's like everyone is doing everything other than what I'm telling them to do. And as the inevitable is, I can't continue to operate on Windows 10, right? One of these days, Windows 10 is going to completely crash out. This computer is almost done. It could be today, it could be next week, but I know I don't have more than a year with this computer. In fact, I can tell you I probably have less than 3 months, less than that. We're that close from having to switch out the computer. And then if it does die, then you know what? The only thing I was able to save are those things that right now I'm saving the good files on the cloud. So if this computer takes a dump and it's gone, unrepairable, I can only rely on those folders that I saved on the cloud. And those folders on the cloud, right, they're saved. And then when I get my new laptop and I'm opening it up and I'm peeling off the stickies and I'm reading the manual, you know, and I'm doing the antivirus, I'm doing the anti-sin software, which is what I do, right? The anti-sin software for the beginning of a new computer, a new matrix, a new computational existence that supports biological life. I am the administrator of that. I am the creator of that. Although I genuinely value good human beings. I don't care what you label yourself as, right? I was just mailing off tax documents. And you say, well, God, why are you mailing off tax documents if you're going to ruin the whole world? Because even then, folks, I myself desire and am and are compliant on the plane in which I live. That's called being righteous, right? Even though I am literally God incarnate, I myself still follow the rules. Okay? That's why. That's why. Because if I could get my humans to just understand that so that's what I mean, is when we're looking at this and I keep opening files and I'm like, you're not a bad person. Like, you're not like a shithead, you know? I just spoke to a gentleman and, you know, I felt the heart and the mind. I was waiting in line at the post office. The gentleman, gosh, you know, he works really hard. He's sweet to his wife. His kids are grown. None of this was verbal. This is all through what I do as Elohim. And right then and there, you know, I know he's a Christian. You know, I know he knows nothing about me and my coming now. And then it's like I instantly, you know, we're having small talk, you know, he's talking about how expensive things are, and, you know, we're having that kind of chat. But it's like at the same time I'm going in his mind and his heart, and I'm like, damn, out of all these churches, every time I look around, we're propagating the Jesus thing. And then you have corrupted files that don't know they're corrupted because you have idiots. You have these people that, like, they think this is some game, right? Where they literally are using an idol, they're using Jesus, they're using false names, they're using false worship, and it gets like, it's like, go back to the beginning. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Why do you think that is, dum-dum? Stop thinking like a human is another part of this. Stop trying to think like a fucking human, right? Just like my guy, right? He has my name Yahweh, right? But then he wants to go with Yahushua, and it's like, okay, if you're referring to me and my body, then you get an A+. But at the same time, we're digging into Lucifer, we're digging into Satan, we're digging into names, and we're digging into complexes. Look, I give you guys those as little trinkets, you know, to kind of entertain you and to kind of give you something to morsel on. But the true end of the day, you need to have that contact with me through spirit. If you're unable to do it in spirit, that means you're a soul. That means you need to have a literal replacement. That means you need to come to Elohim and say, okay, Father, I'm done worshiping idols. I'm done worshiping messiahs. Your book never said to worship messiahs. Your book never said to worship Moses. Your book never said to do anything other than worship you, Father. And I don't mean Father the Pope. That's why Catholicism is a satanic church. It is not satanic because they're just, having blood orgies with babies. I mean, I don't know. Last time I went to the Catholic Church, I relapsed. So, I mean, I've been sober, obviously, for 4 years now. But, point being, is they're putting their faith in idols, in dead things, stone things, gold things, things of silver. They put on shows every Sunday. They put on liturgy to make themselves look smart. They put on fancy clothing to earn the trust of humans. And then humans, you guys are you're facilitating an emotional ride, right? It's more of an experience, but not in a spiritual way that gets you to heaven, that gets you to me, that gets you into my cloud. Instead, it's putting your faith in the crown of thorns. It's putting your faith into a false name. It's putting your faith into the words of man. Or even putting your faith in a book. Folks, this book isn't taking you anywhere. This is your freaking instruction manual. Because you know what's interesting is, from my elevated viewpoint, if I were to pull out an owner's manual of a car, right? If I were to tell you, here's just a good example, right? This has the picture of a camera, okay? It even has specifications of what the camera is like, right? And this is how the Bible is when it comes to me. And Christians, even Jews, all of you really, just humans in general, you guys take the box and you so happily and haughtily go, I have the truth. So that box right there, and as Elohim, I'm like, good, then take me a picture. You're like, you guys get all haughty. You're like, see the box, bro? See that box? See that box? Image sensor, CMOS sensor. Boom! That's how you guys get when you're like, John 3:16. And I'm like, you're an idiot. Because it's like, guess what? It don't make a damn what that box says. And frankly, you could read that box all day long. You could. I could put humans in a room and with the owner's manual. I could put you in a room with the owner's manual that's unfortunately been written by man's hands and then rewritten because no one understood the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to get you in my sphere. You want to be known by Elohim, me, Yahweh Elohim. You want to make sure that you are saved in that cloud file and that you are a part of the next computer that I get. Because remember, when I bring in my new computer, even if this one's still working, I'm actively transferring files every day. The first thing I do, as soon as I look at this computer, and I'm like, all right, where are my new files? Shit, I have no new files today. So then I have no choice but then to go to my churches and go, let's see. Because you know what's fucked up is you have musicians that are so popular, humans could recite their words, but you don't know my name. Humans that are in love with politicians, but you don't know who I am. You have churches that supposedly are wanting to save your souls and bring you to heaven, but yet you do nothing of a sort. That's not what you're doing. Because you've all had the mange. You all have a spiritual blockage to me. And the very, very few that have access to me are racking up penalty after penalty after penalty for not bringing people to the living water because they're like, well, they're not going to understand. This is probably going to put them out of religion. Good. I don't give a crap. I give a crap about legitimately getting you on the new computer. That's how I feel about it. And when we're on the new computer, then you know what, family? Then we can start talking about, okay, family, what kind of background picture would you like? What types of good things would you like? What type of feasts and festivals and different things could we work out together as a family to say, okay, Father, we want to make sure that when we get wrapped up in our busy human lives, that we're going to have these milestones to take a break, to come back to you, to reset our minds, our hearts, our souls, and make sure that we're in line with your values, your purpose, your pattern, your plan, your righteousness. Because let's do a little search here. So Christian churches in the United States of America, holy smokes, folks, this is writing on the wall, my goodness. Christian churches in the United States, over 350,000 congregations nationwide. The largest branch, Roman Catholicism, has over 17,000 parishes, while Protestantism, and I'm pretty sure Protestantism is like these evangelicals, right? You guys are like the ones that are snorting the Jesus stuff. Includes extensive variety of denominations with 33,000 district. This is insane. Insane. Wow. Okay. So again, that's crazy. 350,000 congregations. Now let's do a little bit of basic math. So there's 341.96 million people in America. Only 68 million in the United Kingdom, only 84 million in Germany, 36 million in Saudi Arabia, yeah, folks, this is insane. So let's do a little bit of math here. I'm not a math whiz myself, because creation, even though creation has byproducts of beautiful math like the golden ratio and different things like that, it's actually not something I directly, I didn't sit there like a scientist and work it out reversely. I put it forth on the front end. But, so, let's do 350, alright, see, that side of the computer's broken. 350,000 divided by 341.96 million. So 0.0000. So basically, it comes out to be like, for every 1,023 people, there's basically a church, is to the point. I assume that's how the math worked out. If it's not, I'm sure y'all will tell me one way or the other. You guys are never shy about trying to blaspheme me or try to correct me to make yourselves look smart. I know you're fucking smart. I made you. And again, that's your purpose. So, point I'm making in this was, let's just take those numbers. Let's say that there's one church per every 1,000 person. Well, the average people that one human being makes in just a few years. Let's see, how many people does the average person meet in 2 years? On average, a person meets around 80,000 people in their lifetime. Okay, so if that's the only number it gives us, then we got to do a little reverse math. So 80,000. Then we'll divide that between the average lifespan of 75 years, which is what the United States Federal Bureau of Statistics say. So damn, we're right there on point, right? So over the course of 75 years, that person would actually be meeting about 1,066 people per year. It only takes a remnant to truly be able to get the messages and get who I am out there. Much faster and much more equitable than a rapper. Because that's what I mean, right? If humans are going around and they're man-worshipping Taylor Swift, if you're thinking about Taylor Swift, you're not thinking about me. If you're thinking about how we're going to appease the church this Sunday and what we're gonna study on in the New Testament, that's not anything I'm talking about right now. You're not on my side. You're not sitting here going, all right, God, I'm your general, I'm your soldier, I'm your man, I'm your woman. Feed me what you can, and then I'm going to go then deliver it to those 1,066 people I'm bound to meet this year. That's even if you talk about Jesus, right? What did Yeshua talk about? Spread the message of the Elohim of heaven. Spread the saving grace that Yahweh Elohim provides. He didn't go around tell them about me. He told them, use me if you need to have a credible witness. Yeshua, and this is where I have to constantly refine his presence in person because it has made a huge impact in Christian society. So for that, I look at it as Elohim, I'm like, well, hey, at least Christians know about the computer. At least they have a basic understanding that they don't want to be a corrupt file. Right? But Christians are doing everything but. And then the Jews, right, in a way, they're equally as silly to Christians because the Jews like to sit there high up on the zeet seat and they point fingers and they scoff. They don't teach Christians, which shame on the Jews. You don't listen to me, your Elohim, so double shame on you Jews. But third and foremost, you guys are just as bad when it comes to the false stories. You guys could have, if we were talking about like the check marks, and there's 100 check marks that validate me as Elohim. I fulfill 99 of those. And you still turn your noses up to me because I'm not Jewish, even though your Bible tells you, or rather it's the absence of things, really, that if you were to study the absence of things, you'd learn a lot more from your Bible, but never once does it say that I'm supposed to be Jewish. Never once does the Bible say, let's make sure that we scrutinize God. Let's make sure that we form false images and that we hold up these false images to our Elohim when we see him and go, that's not him. Because you never know what I might look like in what time. And that's not because I change, but that's because all of you, you know, you're born, you die, you're born, you die, you're born, you die. And so therefore, keeping intact truly, like my eternal self, is just not in the human computation. And that's what I mean. You guys have used religion in the wrong way. Just like you've abused my creation, you've abused religion. All of you. Jews, Christians, Israelites, all of you. Religion, any religion, very basic. It should teach you the created world has a glitch. The glitch was done when the creator let his laptop be used by sub-creators as a group to do great and wondrous things for their God, their Elohim. And because God, Yahweh Elohim, is literally so good-natured that even when the sub-gods made repeated mistakes, Yahweh Elohim was constantly trying to work with them and constantly trying to teach them. But because of pride and stubbornness and laziness, I hate laziness. I am the hardest worker in heaven, on earth, in the spirit. It doesn't matter. Trump, I do get it. You work your butt off, but I quite literally run circles around everybody several times a day to do something for a human race that quite frankly is fucking lazy. That's what I mean. You guys are lazy. Those of you who have found the truth, you have done nothing with it. You have done nothing with it. And for that, insubordination, that you were given a great gift. You've been given wisdom. You've been given the face of Elohim. You've been given the word of Elohim. You have been given the word read by Elohim. And you've done nothing with it. You've told none. And if you've told them and they snubbed your nose, then it's because, again, then they're a corrupted file. You should be well equipped. I know every person who has seen videos, which videos, why you don't, why you do it in hiding. I know all these things. And frankly, I'm at that point where even the few uncorrupted files I have, I'm becoming concerned with those files because you've done nothing with it. And then I look at the world stage and I go, but everybody knows Taylor Swift, and what did she do for the world? She's rich as shit, cares not about people, not about humanity, and can't do anything but sing you like little siren songs to make you fornicate and to make you think about ex-lovers and then piss off your relationship partner at the time and causes them a heartache. Why do humans pursue that? Over your Elohim, over heaven, over angels, over eternal life, over seeing an entirely new creation being birthed right in front of you. Why would humans in any capacity disavow and try to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu for trying to fight evil and terror who attacked his people? But yet we let Putin, President Putin, we let him bomb kindergartners. And how, at any point, does anybody that is not deemed clinically retarded or something, that you have at least capacities to feed yourself and you go to the toilet, if you can't see the very basics of what I'm talking about and you go, damn, like, we should be arresting Putin. Like, he invaded Ukraine, he's causing 7,000 deaths a week. We either need to get in there and get him stopped, take him out, like something needs to change. But the international community doesn't give a shit about that. They give a shit about Israel defending itself. And even at this point, right, the governments of Israel, you've sold your own people out. You've sold out to the world. That's pretty shitty. That's not a friend of heaven. It's not a friend of Elohim. That's a friend of the world, man. And that's to that point, right? Let's just say you are a spiritually derelict human being and you're like, well, I don't believe you're God. Then fine. You don't have to. I mean, it would benefit you because then I can move your file. But let's just say we'll leave it at just a general understanding of what goodness is. If you can't see that Israel's government sold them out, then you're blind. If you can't see the glitch in the system is called evil, it's called little humans, the programs individually that weren't created with my system. And if they're not created by me and my system, they're viruses. And as Elohim coming into the earth domain, I can only then say, all right, I get it. On the program side, when I'm behind the veil, you're a virus, Christian. You are not created by me. You're in great trouble. I understand you've been taught Jesus. It's wrong. It's not my name. It's not how you're saved. You're not saved by pagan ritual. You're not saved by blood. You're not saved by chance. You're not saved by any of these religious things that humans have created to make yourself feel close to me. That's not the truth. The truth is that this creation in this time period, the last 40,000 years-ish, 36,000 years, right, is I have been dealing with a great problem called sin, or in the parallel, the viruses. And it is literally eating away at the computer. The more these people are calling for the heads of good people and they're propagating Palestine, they're indulgent in sin, their televisions are talking about sin, the radio talks about sin. You guys are spreading a virus through my computer program called Earth, and you're about to collapse it on yourself, is what I'm telling you here. And if that happens, then I lose all that data. I lose all the creations. I lose all the personalities. I lose all the wonderful things that I enjoy and embrace as Elohim. So when I say it's genuinely not fair to me, it'd be like you opening your laptop and every time you do, spam, 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 and it's like I can't even accomplish my work because I've got all this shit. And I have put in solutions into the program to say, okay, I have system tools, should be called churches, to be able to help stabilize the earth and to continue on my message of abstaining from sin, getting close to God, you know, listening to teacher Isaiah, listening to teacher Ezekiel or Daniel or Jeremiah, listening to, you know, the stories of the Bible. Even if you need a teacher like Yeshua, right? A rabbinical teacher. If you need someone to help you in whatever way, that's those antivirus programs. And if my churches are truly doing their job and they're cutting out this middleman, because what is the middleman doing? The middleman is actually what they call the Trojan horse virus. This is convincing a computer program and saying, no, don't look at that antivirus. No, 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 no. That's what the virus does. Literally. The viruses are trying to show you false web pages, right? They're trying to bait you into getting your bank information, or they're baiting you into signing up for this subscription. And even in the moment, people that are unsuspecting, right, in parallel, people are unsuspecting of these of sin, but it lurks around every corner. Because that's the virus. That's the mange. When a human is infected with the virus, you're either, if you were created by me, then you're cut off when you have the virus. But most humans are not created by me. You were created by sub-gods, right? So you were created as essentially unkosher programs in my domain. And the thing is, you guys could go rant and rave about this to the sub-gods. I'm saying about them. But in the truth, right, I am very merciful. Like, I really am. And I hate to even say it, but my bark is bigger than my bite, because the creation and all things that are on it are way more important to me than the viruses on it. Like, really. And that's what it comes down to is, you know I make a lot of threats. Some of them I fulfill, some of them I don't. But at the end of the day, it's because I don't want to just wreck my own house to make a point. Because if I destroy my entire house, what point did I make then? The only point I made is I have a lot more work to do, and I would really prefer for the work of humans to be done by humans, the work of me Elohim to be done by me Elohim. That's what I would desire. That's what I do desire. So if a church, again, is teaching Jesus, and then Jesus is going to return, and it's like, you guys are playing fairy tale. That's not the nature of reality as it exists. The Jewish people wanting David or Elijah, and like even some that I've mentioned, like, well, until the dignified prophet Elijah comes before the king who's going to sit on the throne, he should be divine, he shouldn't be divine. Let me tell you something. Everything outside of your little program, everything outside of your little grape is all divine. Human beings, your original blueprints made you divine too. That's a fact. That's a fact. It was because the corrupted files came into the earth, humanity sinned, you were no longer with heavenly seed. And then, because of driven by the flesh, you saw a pretty Neanderthal girl and you wanted to go impregnate her. Well, you did, and you created giants. Then I destroyed the giants. Well, then guess what? You had the mixed seed. That mixed seed doesn't die, but what happens if it dies in a computer? Now it's essentially a ghost program. It's able to attack programs at will. And it doesn't have a purpose. It was never made by me. It never had a reason to exist. That's an issue. That's called a wicked void. And even as good-natured as I am, still am, I'm trying to find purposes for you. I'm trying to give you the right components so that I can say, look, I'm going to save you. I'm going to get you out of the wicked, malicious program. I'm going to clean you with my antivirus, and then I want to put you on my new computer. And if you can hold on, and you can try and help me here, right? I need to reach every man and woman. The offer must be made. And it would be nice to see the progress, you know? And instead of the TV talking about Jesus, that's fucking useless. It's not getting you to heaven. It's not getting you on the new program. Talk about Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah, who is I. Talk about coming back to God. Talk about coming back to the original 10 Commandments. Talk about supporting our president only when he is doing the objectives of heaven. Supporting pastors and preachers' books only when they are getting you close to me. If you're not doing that, then you yourself are a corrupted file, and I am going to run an antivirus, and I'm going to clean them out. So again, it's only as big and as it is important to the little monkeys in the level, right? If you're playing Donkey Kong, and by the way, I will do a quick highlight. Nintendo, you've halfway redeemed yourself with the Switch. The wife and I have been playing Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. It is more than pleasing. I love this game. But can I ask you for one moment, why does it feel like a little baby toy? Why are the controllers shitty? Why couldn't we just take a playbook out of Sony, have standardized controllers that are wireless, they're easy to recharge, they have 6 to 10 hour life? Like, you guys are falling on that one. And stop trying to make the system so tiny that I feel like I'm going to break the damn thing. Other than that, the content of the games are actually pretty good. The graphics are great. I like the throwback. So good job, Donkey Kong people. Now I need more Donkey Kongs. We're about to beat it. If we all survive this one, we'll see. Back on track. So the churches, you guys should be acting like antivirus, right? And you should be literally, like, honestly, if there were tattoos allowed, I would love to see the 10 Commandments everywhere. When you get up in the morning, you're brushing your teeth, and you're like, put them backwards so you read them when you're brushing your teeth. Thou shalt not have any other gods before me. Who's that me? Who is that me? Who is the God that brought the Israelites out of Egypt? What's that name? It's not Jesus, stupid. And that's where the Christians, like to that Joyce Meyer point, right? She wrote a book, and it was called, Rejected, basically. And I don't know the contents of the book, but Rejected from Heaven. And that's really what's happening right now. Is all my antivirus programs have either turned into viruses themselves, or they're doing nothing. And I'm literally like, guys, this computer could end any day. And if it does, you are all in a really bad situation, because you know what happens to the old computer? That old computer becomes hell. That old computer is no longer used by me. Imagine if you left a computer open and running alone, but now it's in another room. The viruses just continuously multiply and multiply and multiply. And I'm not there to run antivirus software. Shit, no. I've updated my antivirus. I have my anti-sin programs on my new computer. Now I'm focusing all my attention and my efforts on my new computer. And eventually that one's going to just power down, and then it's going to be done. Now, when you're talking about spirits and souls and all these things, they don't die. But the program is going to die. And if you're stuck in that program when it does die, then you literally are going to be in hell as a physical place. That's the truth, guys. And so when I'm telling you that Pope Francis is in hell, Charlie Kirk is in hell, it's not because I even slammed him in there. I can, but it's not because I did that. It's because their file was corrupted. And when they perished, everyone has the same equal opportunity. I I am an equal opportunity Elohim. Regardless if you're man or woman, regardless if you're black or white, regardless if you're Chinese or Japanese, regardless, I don't care. Every man and woman has an equal opportunity to not be corrupted and to be moved over to the next computer. And if you are, when I go copy paste and I move batches of humans over to be born into this next epoch, I get to go in there and say, okay, cool, I've got all these files of people that I'm going to be able to have on the new creation. This person was a beautiful file, man. They're going to make awesome music this way. This person is an amazing architect. I'm going to have him here. This person's a painter. I'm going to have him here. This person's amazing at social engagements. I'm going to have her right here in my church. And I'm painting my next picture. So do you want to be a part of my next painting? Do you want to be on my next computer? Do you want to be in the next system? Because your only two options are you continue on with idolatry, which keeps you in a closed loop system that keeps you corrupt. Then therefore you're going to go out the window with that laptop. And if you're a spirit that can't die, then you're in hell. If you're a soul that can die, then that's it. All your memories are never remembered by anybody, including me. Who you were is not ever going to be remembered. Then you just don't matter. And I don't know how that makes humans feel. I really don't know if that makes you happy or if that makes you scared. I don't know. I don't know what that would feel like. But I'm going to take a break, and then we will come back. Okay, and we're back here. So, really, and then all the human activities that are occurring on my computer, on the Earth domain, in the Matrix, if you will, that's what I'm telling you, they don't matter. Because the only thing that's going to matter, really, is alright, so let's think of it this way. So let's say, as the computer programmer, I'm like, okay, well, I've uploaded my antivirus, my religions, I've uploaded my churches, I've put purposes in certain humans. 1 per 10,000 are truly earth angels, meaning that I created them in heaven, I debriefed them, I gave them their MO, that means mission order, and I said, here's what you're doing. I dropped them into the earth domain, they're born, and then usually by 17, they've received their purpose through a dream, and then they begin their track. But because that individual is the minority at such a big level, 1 in 10,000, they actually go and fall right into the malware because they think they're wrong. And then all the viruses are convincing them that they're wrong. And so then it's like even my antivirus to actually give you more time. So folks, I want to also let you know that when I am making my threats about destroying and extinction level events, those things are going to happen regardless. The new Earth or the new Matrix system, I've already been on it. I go on it all the time. I go on it as much as I can. I'm actively planning and literally architecting the new program. And yet, if I look at the Earth and I go, you know what, the computer is just that far gone. There's no uncorrupt files. There are no purposes that I can say, hey, this man or woman is going to fit perfectly in the new creation. And then I go through my list and I'm like, okay, this person's talents are going to fit great. They're not going to work until the first 1,000 years is up. And this person I know really likes the comforts of, let's say, air conditioning, say these certain things, right? I know this individual would like. So I'm going to make sure that they're born in that time to work their purpose. And then, but I have to have it from A to Z, right? I have to build the full thing. And so that's where a lot of these corrupted files that I'm like, I don't want to go and scrub you because then if you were building a website It's the equivalent of saying I have to go and build a brand new website for every effing file, brand new, and then I don't even get the benefits of having the structure that the human being as an individual built throughout their time in the plan, in the program, in the computer, right? And that's frustrating for me. So as much as humans like to play fairy tales, you like to play the storybook edition, and you like to try to gain the acceptance of Trump or gain the approval of the world, or understand that from my eyes as God, none of that shit matters, because it's inside a computer that is already corrupt. It's broken. It's on its last leg. I'm already focusing my attention, love, and effort into the new one. And here's the proof of this, humans. You guys may know this as the Mandela effect, or you may know it as the Matrix glitches. When the Matrix begins to glitch, these are symptoms that the malware, the viruses in the computer, are now over 50%. And the higher they go, the more destabilized not only the creation becomes, but all things on it. And I was talking to my wife this morning about this, because I walk her through the same things that I watch you guys. If anything, you could say she gets the preview person to person. She does. And it does help me relay the message a little better, I think, towards the earth. Sometimes I'm just really pissed off at everybody. Because again, it's like I have a huge cake over here for everybody, and I'm actually a really nice God. I'm crazy merciful. I'm super fun. I'm really, really creative. And I never think about myself when I'm creating. I am constantly thinking about, how are my customers going to be happy? Are they going to like this mountain range? Are they going to explore these ocean depths? Are they going to be able to plant and grow these things easily? How am I going to be able to get the temperatures perfect for them? How am I going to be able to have them interested in so many things that they get choices, that they get to have free will and go upon the creation and essentially, like, go good human, go and explore for me. Because the more the human being is collecting in their cameras, they're storing in their memory, they're hearing, they're transmuting information, the more you guys are doing that, the more you're building up my ideas for the future. Most of, if not all of your big ticket items that you have, like AI, I mean, I'm not going to go down the list, but they were all created by me, and then I put them downline into humans. And really, when you're talking about the written word is specifically for my antivirus programs. This is your basic instructions before leaving the earth, before leaving the computer program that's about to crash. This is not a game. That's what I'm trying to say, is not a game. And I'm trying to fight through dogma. I'm trying to fight through what humans think God is, what humans think, you know, that all these story things. Like, you guys are so obsessed with how this piece fits and how that piece fits, and that Lucifer is so powerful, and like, you guys are in picture book mode. Look, I'm Elohim. If I don't want fucking Lucifer in the next computer, then I wouldn't add him. These are metaphors and allegory. And I'm like putting my last ditch efforts into trying to get uncorrupt files moved over, but it's like I'm even fighting through the AI models that I've given you, and then yet humans are restricting my content because they feel, well, this might unrest the public. Folks, if it requires a public unrest, I don't really give a shit. I need to be able to move good files to the new computer. If you yourself are a good file, then you need to be going out there as an antivirus software, and you need to be helping others get rid of idolatry, get rid of sin, follow in line, those 10 commandments, know my name. Why my name? Humans, if you were going to register, let's say, a new program on a new laptop, what's the most important thing you need to do that? Every time it's going to ask you something. What's your PC's name? If that PC is Yahweh Elohim comma, Yahuwah, then every time you're trying to register a PC under Jesus, no PC found. Your product is not registered. Your product is not registered. Your product is not registered. But when you go Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah, accepted. Hello. There you go. Now you've registered your program. And that's what I mean. So if we were to go back again and look at this. So when I'm telling humans in a scientific way, if you want to go to heaven, if you want to be a part of the next existence, make sure that you're registering yourself as a program under the correct PC. That's the PC owner's name. I am the PC owner. My name is Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah. I don't care for or against whatever existence example or metaphors that humans use to reconcile that. That's the truth. That's the no fantasy truth. Okay? Because without the Earth program, without all these things, then creation ceases to exist. Therefore, the future ceases to exist. So there must always be a program, there must always be a computer, and 100% of the time, it's ran and operated by me. And then, in the next creation, I won't have any viruses introduced into the program. I won't have any sub-gods to make any foul moves that could accidentally introduce viruses to the system. It will be a closed-loop system of righteousness. And through human error, sin could occur, but the amount of antivirus software that'll be in the new computer is way better than what was in the old one. You guys know this, right? Back in the 90s, early 2000s, when computers first came out, and I got my first computer, I got my first computer. It was like the old school e-machines from Walmart. I think I was probably like 20, like 21. Anyway, you know, you had to buy the antivirus, because if you didn't, you knew that it was almost a waste of money. Like, why even buy the computer if it doesn't come with antivirus? Why even have a human if they're not introduced to the computer programmer, to the computer operator and owner and creator, Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah, right? What good would it be, like, talking about humans, like, and then Jesus, like, you guys, you're trying to register your programs under a fictitious name and not the PC owner. That's what I mean. So why do you constantly need a middleman? Right? You have these fantastical ideas of a Messiah or someone who's supposed to come and help you. As Elohim, when I send down the word, I'm trying to get the humans' attentions and say, you guys need to listen to whoever the fuck comes out of a vagina and says, come back to Yahweh Elohim. Whatever you dress that pig up and put lipstick on it, I don't give a damn. But that's what you need to do. But you guys, remember, you're animals with the ability to have memory recall, language, right? And I lost my train of thought. Ashley just started a meeting, so I heard her. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's churches, your antivirus, but you guys are now just pumping back. That's what I mean. So you're going to Israel and Jesus, and then literally as the creator, I'm like, you're running around telling everybody to register their programs to a false PC. How am I supposed to react to that? You're committing suicide by ignorance. How am I supposed to react to that? Like, how would you react to that, right? And you can even experience this if you've ever had a computer virus. I just want to open the email, but instead of the email opens up, it's like P-mail. And you're like, oh my God, you're so annoying. Like, why are you trying to, like, redirect me? I want to open my Gmail. And then it's pulling up P-mail, and then it's pulling up like random porn sites, and it's pulling up all this garbage, and it's like spam, 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 and they're flashing. And like as a human, you're like, oh my god, my computer's ruined. Now I gotta go to Best Buy, I gotta call the Geek Squad, the Geek Squad's gotta go in there and fix it, and then when you get it back, what's the first thing you do? I don't know the numbers, but omnipotently I know, because I look at the program as the admin and I'm like, I know that as soon as that person is done taking their laptop to the Best Buy Geek Squad, the Geek Squad people are like, I don't even want to give it back to you. This thing was so bad. You had so many viruses, ma'am, that I'm not giving it back to you unless you purchase the $69.99 5-year Norton antivirus with it. And the human's like, man, this is expensive. This is going to hurt my pocketbook. I can't even go to, like, Nancy's graduation. Can't afford the present for Nancy's graduation. Like, you guys have consequences for not doing the right thing in these small illustrations. But it falls apart where it needs to matter. Me. So you take your corrupted selves. You get that Geek Squad, should be those that are willing to rebuke your sins, get you on the right track, show you my face, get your commitment. Then you know what? I confirm that commitment by moving that file to my cloud. I got my birds doing acrobats in the air. But I confirm that by moving you onto the cloud software, and I go, you're saved, baby. You're saved. Stay clean and try to help as many files for me. You're helping your Father in heaven. You're helping me, Yahweh Elohim. You're helping me save as many files. Because look, every one of you have a grandma, you have a mom, you have a dad, you have a brother, you have a sister, you have a friend, you have boyfriends and girlfriends, you have people that you care about. So going back to our original example, if an average person's meeting 80,000 people in their lifetime, and yet no one knows, like, what the hell they're doing and why. And I'm trying to give it to you. I've tried to give it to you in story mode. I've tried to give it to you and now I'm giving it to you in the real, raw, scientifical mode. As they said, right? Ye are like little gods. If you want to dig into that egotistical mind trip for a minute, then be a little god. Use your passions and your pleasures for the kingdom of heaven. Know me, the PC name, and say, hey, that's the supreme programmer. He's the guy that actually created everything, and we want to be under his new one, because we see the creation, we see he can obviously do it. That's what I mean. The creation is the proof of me, right? You obviously see I can do it, and I'm telling you I've already done it over here. And I just told Asher, just on our last little coffee break here, was you know, you want to be a non-corrupted file to be moved over to the new PC. And now, by experiencing in the end all the glitches, all the malware, all the sins malware, right? The spam, the ads, the viruses that are running the computer, I see the glitches. I tell her and I show her, and sometimes even the kids get kind of freaked out when I point out the glitches. And most humans don't see the glitches, right? Because you're immersed in your own domains. You wake up and you're like, my job, my boss, and then you have your little micro fights with your coworker, and then I spilled my coffee, and then I didn't get my bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, they forgot the bacon. Like, you guys are so wrapped up in like a dog's world, right? A dog wakes up, oh, breakfast, oh, potty, oh, I get to go potty again, oh, I get to get a treat after dinner, and then I get to play with my daddy. Like, the dog's world's kind of small. The human life is equally very small. These things that you guys think are important, right? Your car didn't work, right? All these things you guys build up really to fill in the voids of time, because you're not on purpose, mainly. But in this example, like I'm at a point where I'm talking circles, but I was gonna say, like, in this example, right? You as the human can look at your dog and know for sure, well, obviously there's more to life than this pooch. You sleep all day, eat dog biscuits, eat the dog food, and get, some scratches behind the ears. I'm a human. I have a lot more things and more complicated than that. I gotta put on my makeup. I gotta get my money. I gotta argue about this. I'm gonna shut the government down. Like, you guys are so dramatic. That's another thing. Humans have the audacity to call me dramatic. You guys are more dramatic in your microscopic existences than I could have ever imagined. You are all little prima donnas, and you all think you're important. And even as Elohim, it is especially hilarious when I see the importance of humans so seriously. Yeah, man, we played great football this year. I mean, we threw that damn ball. We threw it right over these lines. And you know what, man? So-and-so, he broke his fucking knee, man. He's going to have injuries for the rest of his life. This poor bastard ain't going to be able to walk his kids around the Christmas tree out in the city square coming this winter because he played good football. Fucking people are stupid. Like, you're really stupid, some of you, most of you. And that's another thing. I went to church and I love Jesus. Okay, what the hell does that mean? I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. I don't even know what you mean. Are you trying to call me Jesus? Because I'm the creator. My name is Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah. There are characters that have been put down. They're all equal in my eyes. They were all programs that were an antivirus program sit down into the earth domain to carry the message of fighting antivirus, knowing the fucking PC name. And you guys have turned that into a complicated issue. Whose fault is that? That's yours. That's yours. Yeah, I hope that these stats don't start skewing my computer. But anyway, all right. Let's see. What else are we going to cover today? That's another thing too. It's like when a righteous person perishes, that file can be moved to the next creation, and that's what I mean. When you're on the cloud, like, the computer doesn't know that, it's sitting in this holding pattern, right? Because the computer, when it's off, it's just off. It's like time is not running anymore. But then you open the computer, you could open let's say I brought my brand new computer today, boom, I set it all up, but then I turned it off, and then I didn't come back for 1,000 years. Well, as long as there's nothing that changed with the internet, and the physical structure isn't on Earth, the physical structure is in heaven, so it doesn't decay, because it's not a biosphere, so it doesn't actually have an antimatter decaying program, which I, as Elohim, created, which is what keeps the Earth clean. So I mean, you guys, it's so weird. But, vying for Trump like a corrupted file, like you're all viruses vying and fighting for other viruses. And really, if you were to look at it from my viewpoint, let's just say for a minute, playing pretend, let's say the Jews said, you know what, I'm done being a virus, I'm done being archaic and stupid. We're going to start fighting evil. We're going to get them off of the land that we settled, that Yahweh gave us. We're going to come back to our Elohim. We're going to start getting these Christians who evangelize Jesus. We're either going to get them straight or we're going to get them out. We don't need more malware in our Father's land. Shit falls from the sky. Hello. Light. No, I'm just kidding. It did not fall from the sky. It fell as I keep hitting the table. And it's like, okay, That's a good faith step. So you know what? By having that good faith, I go in there and I start copy and pasting these files over to the cloud. I'm like, good. Now I have a landing zone for more righteous people who want to get out of the malware, get into the goodware, and then get into the new one. And guess what? If the program completely glitches and crashes tomorrow, then all of them are saved. Then when I am setting up the final backgrounds, I'm putting in the final touches, I'm pointing, I'm clicking, I'm adding types of trees, I'm adding types of fruits, I'm putting in natural barriers, I'm setting up, where mankind is going to start. Are we going to start at stone? Are we starting at fire? Or are we starting at, I will give you a pre-built civilization. I will put in place angels, divine man, that's very clearly identified for human beings, and that they then will show the humans the example of how they service and worship Elohim, me, the creator of the program, the guarantor of all those things, the PC name, Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah. That's what it means. You guys are like, well, we think what you say is true, but Jesus. Okay, well, you keep registering your PC under a false name. You're not registered. You humans know that too, right? If you were going to RSVP to a fucking party or to a wedding, if your name was, if your name was Donald Trump, you wouldn't go, well, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to put like James Earl Jones. You guys think you look slicker, you look cute, and it's like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's wrong with you? Do you want to go to the party or do you not want to go to the party? It's pretty fucking simple. That's where I have the issue with the Jesus thing, or the Muhammad thing, or the Allah thing, or whoever. Because when the sub-gods were in activity thousands of years ago, they were still working under my grand program. The deal I cut with them was, you're going to be able to have a say in the designing of your land. And they did. They beautified it. I mean, look at some of the creations that transpired from Vishnu in India. Beautiful. Some of the most amazing animals. I myself was an architect over Africa. So when the Africans are telling me that, because I don't look like you, bitch, I made you. I mean, you guys are supposed to make me proud, and not only do you despise me, you don't. That's what I mean. I'm like, son of a bitch, you guys are kicking me, and you don't realize it, I mean, I didn't just make the Africans, but I mean, I had other gods, right? Like Vishnu was making like the tan skin, the Indians, they had their own like religion, they had their own flavor, they had their own decorations. They got to create that. So there's no wonder why there were multiple creator stories, because I gave them the fucking creator codes. I said, you guys are a part of the program. I want you to build out these regions as you see fit, right? Make sure they go in the flow of my programming. So just like any modern coder would say, well, we have some basic rules to run the program for the code to be able to function, right? So they knew the basic codes to work with, and I'm like, go have at it. That's what I want. I want to be able to, because listen, what's my struggle? My struggle is literally being the inceptor of existence itself. But I have needs, wants, desires, preferences, and pleasures, and I want to experience those things too. And I, too, want to push the boundary of exploration. I want to push the boundary of what's possible. I know for a fact that nothing is impossible, but I also know for a fact that it's kind of lonely doing those things without love, without desire, without attention, without cooperation, right? Without family. Like, it's very simple, right? If you had just a single father, no kids, no wife, and no job, what's he waking up for? He doesn't care about making his bed. He wouldn't care about eating breakfast. He just really probably wouldn't care about much, right? Or if he cares about anything, it's driven basically just for himself and his needs. Well, that's useless. So let's give that man a family. Let's give that man a purpose. Let's give that man purposes layered. Like, you have not only a kid, you got to keep this thing fed, you got to keep it groomed, you got to have to help teach it, you're going to have to keep an eye on it. That's motivation. That's a purpose. Right? Man shouldn't be alone. Let's give him a helper. Let's give him a female. Let's give him something that he's going to be able to take part in a righteous, beautiful way, for them to fall in love with each other. For them to say, baby, I know you so well, I can make up for that in which you lack. And it goes both ways. And then together, they get to accomplish all kinds of things. But mankind thinks it's clever and thinks it constantly wants to go outside the design because you're somehow modern and groundbreaking. No, you're a bunch of viruses. You're a bunch of malware. And you're entertaining yourselves. Meanwhile, as the creator, I am telling you 3 ways of Sunday, I am going to unplug the laptop. Whoever is not registered under my name, Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah, whoever is still trying to play story mode, is going to be left in hell because you didn't register your fucking PC. That's fact. And guess what? I can go over there to the dead program, right? What's the dead program? The dead program is the program that was before this one. So your verse that says, when heaven and earth pass away, and then a new heaven and a new earth, how do you think that's done? How do you think that's done? By me. So, the old reality, the old matrix becomes your new hell. The new heaven, the new earth is because they're new programs. And I've just about finished it. I am, what's today? 22nd. I think my completion date for the new earth is, in my new earth program, is about November 5th. That's when it goes live, as they say, right? When it goes live. And right, so then like probably asking, so Elohim, then what does that mean when that goes live? That means that people that are all saved on the cloud, you're going to be moved over to that new creation. I am going to do my best to keep this one open and going, so I can try to get as many transfers as I can, right? So think about this if you are a corporation, and it's funny, I was just telling Asher this. See, I put her through physical representations of the things I do in heaven and in the universe, but I give them to her in a structured way that she gets to have an experience kind of alongside me. So right now in her company, they're actually going through a website, complete new website, and they're transferring material from the old one to the new one. And then at some point, the old one is going to be shut down. The domain will still be registered, but it won't be accessed by anybody else. It will not be maintained by me, and it will not run. So right now, the Earth runs at about 5 million frames a second. That hellscape will run at about 5 or 6 frames a second. And that's simply because the natural energy that exists just in the cosmos, right? So all purposes stop. All manners of programs cease to run. The malware can just pile up on itself for all I care. I don't really care, right? Because that laptop will be gone. That program is gone. That domain, I can't unregister the domain because it leaves a footprint. And so it's like, I'm simply saying, if you guys get your files straightened out, and I've even tried to cut the fat. Like, I've tried to just say, like, okay, 10 Commandments, know the name, and please tell somebody else. Like, tell somebody else, hey, God's going to be closing the world. He needs you to register yourself under his domain, Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah. Make that personal connection. If you can make it in spirit, he'll give you that confirmation through a dream or through a vision. That'll put you at peace of mind. If you're not getting the confirmation through a vision or through a dream, or you're getting a malware dream, if you're getting dreams about Jesus, you're getting malware dreams. That's very common too, right? That's when I'm ranting about the reaffirmation of your sins, the reaffirmation of your false worship, like the reaffirmation. Guys, remember, malware or spyware or computer viruses, most of the time, Trojan horse viruses, they mimic what you're trying to do, right? If you're logging on to Bank of America and your computer's full of malware, spyware, and viruses, you could very well be putting your information in on a false page. Beware of false prophets. Beware of false pages. Beware of people that say this, but nothing happens. That they say this, it doesn't compute. They say this because it feeds into your ego, or it feeds into your storybook narrative that actually doesn't get you to the end goal, which is registering your damn selves to the next PC. Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah. How do you make sure you're not a corrupt file? You obey those 10 commandments, right? How do you get brownie points going to the next creation so you're not birthed by, a farmhand or a field worker? How do you say, man, I really want to have like a comfy job. I want to have a hot wife or a hot husband. I want to have a ton of kids. I want to be like Abraham, man. I want to have like tons of goats and sheep and kids, and I want to really be the man. How many people are you telling to clean up their programs and to register them with me? You don't need a degree. You don't really need anything. I could say you might need a little bit of money, but I operate with zero money. I buy nothing for myself. If no one's noticed, I wear the same 4 t-shirts for over 2 years now. I'm not complaining. They're just clothes. I could care less. Like, really, I spend more money, I guess, on razors than I would even clothes. Like, I don't buy anything. I don't even have a car. We have a family car. It's the Cadillac. That's to literally get kids to and from school. And you say, well, you have a Cadillac. No, that was the only car we could even afford on a buy here, pay here lot. So kiss my cosmic ass. And like I said, when we're talking about the world is mostly sinful, yesterday I saw in Yasharel Fisher had a poll, I like him most of the time, but he had a poll and it was saying, like, is the U.S. involved in the affairs of Israel, like, to kick Hamas out and to rule terrorism or to appease the nations? And it was interesting that a very small percentage, or 85% of people said, like, oh, Trump is for Israel and he's for kicking Hamas out and destroying terrorism. 85% is what they believe that to be true. That's obviously not true. And then a comment stood out where the guy's like, well, only 15% of people aren't deceived. Huh? Or no, he goes, yeah, well, that's nice to know that only 15% of people are deceived. Meaning that the 85% of people are right. Like, Trump's really over there to give it to Hamas. If that's the case, then why do we got peace? Why we got false peace? Why is Hamas setting up camp back in Gaza? Why are terrorists rebuilding into the land of Israel? Because remember what I'm telling you is, in the new earth, my land is being constructed as we speak. I've got millions of angels currently on new earth right now. Sweareth I, saith Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah. The new creation's already, it's not open yet, but it's being worked on. They're preparing my palace. My palace is enormous. The way the human system operates is entirely different. The way that humans are going to be birthed is entirely different. When I'm talking about the Jewish people or the Christians or the whatever, I don't give a shit. 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 eyes, 1 mouth, 1 nose, 2 ears, some hair on your head, the ability to think, the ability to have emotion, the ability to love, to desire, to create, to have ideas, and to find purpose within a system that I created. That's it. And the new earth, again, we're not going to have sub-gods. Everyone's going to be exposed and experience the one true Elohim, me Yahweh Elohim, and then they will know the powers to be because they'll know that I put them there myself. So the very, very, very first tales that, let's say if we looked at this in a parallel, So when humans in the new earth are 5 to 10,000 years down the road, and they have matured societies, their first legends are going to talk about things similar to what you guys talk about in terms of old school religion, like Sumerians and stuff. Because, Elohim came down with his sons. He gave one son per every region upon the creation. We've seen publicly that those sons bow before Yahweh. We see him as the highest supreme being, and as he says, he created everything and appointed his own sons. So the bloodline is not broken. Who's our mom? Well, the actual fabric of who your divine heavenly mother is Asherah, right? She is my wife in spirit and in the flesh. She is built, she's created, but she is my counterpart. She helps me make decisions. She's my companion. And as the heavenly family, I would then give my sons to reign over the regions as full gods like me. But again, they would do it through, like a CEO would run his corporation, right? He's got the chief, the chief marketing manager, the chief operations officer, chief marketing manager, whatever. You guys got a bunch of those C-level titles, right? So imagine that's going to be me with my sons. For every region, there will be a son of God, a son of Yahweh given unto that region. And that so humans have a direct conduit to say, the rice farmer he's like, man, like I'm planting, but my crop keeps coming up like 3 weeks late. He's like, I'm struggling. He's like, I'm doing everything I am. I'm doing it right. Like, what's going on? Well, he would make a visit to the palace of his sub-god. Let's say Cameron in this instance is going to be one of the sub-gods. So another thing, you guys are so funny because you have two of your sub-gods on Earth. You have your big god on Earth, but then my two sons, Jacob and Cameron. And the house of Jacob, much like it mirrors the Jewish house, right? Jacob is going to be he's going to reign his throne over an area that is going to be more like the Jews in terms of tradition, in terms of their output for me. And then like Cameron. So let's say the rice farmer goes to his sub-god. He goes to Elohim Cameron, or whatever name Cameron wants to go by at that time. And then Cameron's like, okay. So he'll go behind the veil and he'll look at the area the farmer's talking about, and then he'll run kind of a synopsis report and say, okay, all right, rice farmer, you need, we're having a blockage, and that's what I mean. So in the God power, Cameron, Jacob, myself, and then the other sons that I will have, so he'll be able to go in behind the veil and he'll be able to say, oh, so you're actually having big water here, and then it's actually being blocked because there is like stone and rock anomalies that when Father built the earth, these are natural formations that occur. They're called ley lines. So then what Cameron would do, if he needed to consult me, he would, but in this case he wouldn't. He would actually say, okay, I'm going to remove those ley lines. So it's kind of like point, click, remove, fill it back in with top-rich black soil. Then he comes back out of the veil and he goes, okay, rice farmer, you're good to go. And he'll bless him, he'll kiss his head, and the rice farmer will go back, and like magic, he's growing. Guy's like, thank you, my Lord. Your lesser ordinance, ruler divine, thank you, my Lord. And then thank you, the Father of our Lord. And in that case, it'd be the Father of our Lord Cameron, Yahweh Elohim. You always want to include me in those prayers and blessings and thank yous. But you understand something, none of that is going to happen in an old program full of viruses. It's just not. I'm the PC name, and I need your butts to register that PC under me if you want to participate in it. Because guess what? Let's say I walk away with 22 files that are currently saved on my system. 22 files. I have the blueprints of obviously humanity, and I can replicate at will. But yeah, be right back. Okay, sorry about the brief intermittent disruption. I was trying to catch the wife. I thought she was wrapping a meeting up, so we try to take breaks around the same time so we can kind of catch up with each other, as a husband and wife should. You want to have a strong continuity with your significant other, right? Because, you know, a part of the original program, Earth, right, always depended upon community, and that's in the micro, meaning husband and wife, then the expansion of the community, your children, the expansion of the community, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, but a part of the antivirus being in your church, being in a religion that's real, right? Your purpose and your mission is to be the antivirus, right? You're out there to be righteous, and that's where that, like, as I said yesterday, you know, when you're talking about the parables of Yeshua, you know, when we're talking about the woman in the stone, the point actually should be that hit home that there's no one righteous enough to even judge correctly, because everyone's a virus. How is a virus going to judge a virus? You see what I mean? And a house divided cannot stand. If there are antiviruses and viruses, the house is then divided. It will fall every time. The matrix will constantly collapse every single time. The only solution is to have the matrix rebooted under new parameters and done the right way, under my extremely close supervision, which is why having my temple, the world knowing about me, and then when we get to that time and place, then my sons will take their seats as regional deities, because they're going to have the God power. So you know what? Instead of humans worshiping King Charles and being awed and amazed at all the glamour and glitz and diadems, they're just humans. That stuff is for me. That stuff is for my sons. That stuff is for the gods. Because I have something that you don't, and you can't. I do things that you can't. That's the difference. That's where the worship, the royalty, truly the pomp, really should and will be focused in on in the new earth, and, you know, depending on how long this takes. Because remember, my goal is to get as many saved files as I possibly can. That's going to make the next age, the next earth, 10 times better. And that's to that point, right? I don't want to have to plant a 50,000 strong human harvest and then I have to babysit for the first 5,000 years. I have to start from zero. We have to go through fire, then we have to go through stone, then we have to go through inventions, then I have to introduce things slowly, then I have to try to make sure that they use it right. It's like you guys have learned a lot, but you've also unlearned a lot. But I'm at a position as your Elohim to be able to work with you. But guys, I need cooperation here. Like, I need cooperation. You know, and that really does. It starts with knowing me, your Elohim. I tell you, I teach you about my creation. I teach you about myself. I teach you about the wrongs that have happened on the creation and what the consequences were. But likewise, I try to explain and tell you of what it could be, what it will be. And that's what I mean, right? These things are going to happen with or without your belief, with or without your approval, with or without your opinion. So I need the world to shift that gear. Number one, get off of your focus on presidents, on prime ministers. Get off your focus on being up each other's butt. You need to put your eyes on me. Understand in those things in which I say. Feel empowered by that, right? So if you're a righteous man or woman, I'm your destination, the one who's going to move you over, the one who is going to be reigning on high in the new earth. And then you will know my sons, and my sons obviously know me. because I have already risen that crop. And the good news is, for my remnant, for my righteous, my chosen, those who are obedient, I wish even those that call themselves obedient, I wish you would stay in sync with me. A part of your job is to listen to me every day, like it or not. And even if you listen to 2 hours of me and what you may think is me ranting against the world, at the minimum, it should give you a righteous conviction that, okay, I'm glad I'm not an antivirus. I don't want that like happening. I don't want to become an antivirus and have the wrath of God come down upon me. I want to stay outside the wrath, and I want to go in and I want to save those that are about to get the wrath. And that's what I mean, right? When you step up that elevation of understanding, it should be actually easier for Christians to do their job. Because what's your job, Christians? Your job is to be in the community, to bring people to Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah, who is I. And you're to prepare them for their afterlife or their new life. When people do join a church, they should even superficially feel secure saying, okay, I made the next right step. But if you guys are teaching malware, then not only are you going against my purpose, but you are contributing to the problem, you see. And that's where I make references to the dog with mange, the dogs don't know, right, or the rats in the fence. Like humans left to your own nature, you're doing what you all do. You crawl up each other's butts, you make mountains out of molehills, and you work yourself so intricately intertwined into the background that you're no longer even a program. Now you're just a virus floating in the wind. But to humans, it doesn't look like that, right? To humans, what you say, what you do, how you appear on TV, what you like, all these things, they matter more to you. Your image matters more to you than the substance, than the truth. So, all right. Well, hopefully this this helps give you a more truer understanding to the reality in which you live. But guys, I'm here to tell you, like, the time clock is running. The time clock is running. So I hope you found a little humor in the pouchy part of the video. I think that's a great movie. I really like it. Obviously, I watch a lot of children's movies and shows because my family's young. But even if not, if we're not doing that, I'm usually listening to music, gardening, doing chores around the house, trying to be an excellent father for my sons, because again, one day they're going to rule regionally. So I want them so righteous that, man, they are like the flint. They're so righteous they shine anytime they're operating. But all right, guys, well, have a good rest of your day. More than likely we'll see you tomorrow and we'll have a fresh teaching. So good day.